Hello everybody and welcome to the anniversary edition of the Bao Podcast. We have reached episode 20. For this special occasion, we welcome Filip Timmermans. Filip is one of the founders of Skilpod. Skilpod is a company that builds fully prefabricated houses. The entire assembly is being done in factory and the home is installed on site in an incredibly quick way. With this approach, Skilpod wants to disrupt the traditional construction industry, where the duration of a project takes a huge amount of time, and all this without compromising on quality. Personally, I'm a huge fan of this company, and I am very happy to welcome Filip here today. So let's dive into it. Welcome, Filip. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Feeling a bit sick. You can hear it on my voice, but for the rest, everything is okay. So,
good to hear.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here, even though you're a little bit sick. Let's start at the very beginning. If I'm correct, I think most people listening to this have probably already heard from Skilpod, because you are one of the biggest, if not the biggest player in Belgium about prefab homes.
At the moment, we've started 10 years ago, and we believe to be the biggest modular construction company in Belgium. Of course, there are a lot of bigger ones in Europe, but in Belgium, we seem to be, or we think of us as the founder or the pioneers in the modular construction, and also specializing in houses for direct to consumer. So that's quite unique.
Okay. And what do you mean with houses direct to consumer?
Yeah, we design the house. We build it modular in a factory. We design it as a product, not made to order, but really as a product, and then selling it directly to an end consumer who has a plot of land, and then we sell it directly to the end user.
Okay. And that's always the case, or is there also a model where you develop the houses and then you sell them on a piece of land already?
Yeah, that's also something we do with some bigger projects. We buy the land or we lease the land, and then we set the houses and we sell them. That's also possible, yes.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And maybe to before we dive into the details, to maybe go to where it all started. How did you come up with this idea? Because you've been going at it for 10 years, so you are indeed quite a pioneer. Where did this idea come from? How did it all start?
It started about 13 years ago when my wife and myself wanted to build a house. And at that moment we saw it was a very long project, very difficult project with the architects, building permits, the housing. It would take 2 or 3 years to build a house, or 2 years. And I'm an engineer myself. I don't have any experience in construction. But I thought, I coming from an automotive background, so I saw how fast a car was built, and then I had to build a house, a similar complex product. That would take me 2 years. And then I was thinking, it must be done faster. That was the first, not the first idea, but the first ideas. When I was talking with my best buddy, Jan, with whom I founded the company, he also had some ideas about living, some special ideas about living. And when we were visiting one of our other friends who was sick and who had to move back home, his idea was to build a smaller unit to put in the garden of this guy's parents, where he could live in. So that was the first idea. So first, I wanted to build my own house, and then one of our friends who got sick, who had to move back into his house with his parents, and that's the foundation of the company actually.
And so you and Jan, you built that house for the sick friend?
No.
Okay.
In the end, we didn't build it. It took too long. We were just in the beginning of the ideas, and then we had to raise some money, find some place where we could build it, and eventually build it. We were 2 years later before we had our first prototype, so it was too late for him.
Okay.
So he had some other solution.
But so it started with little houses in the garden.
That was the basic idea, yeah. But we also had the idea, the first idea was to build houses like a car. Yeah, that was the basic idea. But we have to start somewhere. You cannot start just directly with building big houses and sell them. You have to have some track record. And the easy way to get some track record was building smaller houses. And also we went to Poland, to Czechia, to Finland, to Norway, all the Scandinavian countries and all the Nordic countries. because they were building there a lot of off-site, and there we learned a lot, but we didn't find the right product that would suit here. So we decided to build it ourselves.
Okay. I'm quickly going to check because we did we're recording.
Okay, that's good.
Just to make sure, because we did something went wrong in the first time. Yeah. Okay, so you went all across the Scandinavian countries, and what wasn't correct, or what wasn't in line with the vision you and Jan had with those examples you found in the northern countries? Yeah,
the quality of housing in Flanders is very high. I think it's unique in the world. Everywhere you go, the houses that are built are not as good as the houses that are built in Flanders or in Belgium. And wherever we go, the construction was okay, but the finishing was really bad, the flooring was really bad, and it didn't look like a good house or a nice house even. So design was also important. So we couldn't find the good designs and the right quality. That's why we decided to start our own, on our own.
Okay, so maybe if you would have found what you were looking for in those other countries or those other markets, you would have just started to import it.
Yeah, indeed. We started, the first things we did was importing. Yeah, we had to have some turnover in the beginning, so we found a smaller company that made garden rooms. And they looked actually nice, but you could not live in them. So we imported them and we sold them here. And meanwhile, we were developing our own product. So it was on the same line. Yeah, first 2 years we did it.
Okay. Yeah. And how many did you sell by going that route?
Let's say 30, 40 or so.
Okay, yeah, that's not nothing.
Yeah. It was okay, yeah. But it were not houses, that were really garden sheds and garden offices. So in the beginning era of the garden office, we were doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And does your experience in the automotive industry, did it come in handy when you started to look at the production process in Belgium?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's. I believe it's a huge plus. The way a car is even more complex than a house, I believe, and that's being assembled in 2.5 hours. So a house takes 2.5 years or 1.5 years. A car is 2.5 hours. So it's huge difference for a similar complex product. So we always have been designing the product, or with the goal of designing a house that could be assembled. And first 8 or 9 years we didn't do it like that. We experimented a lot, but now we are in the process that we can assemble a house, and that makes the house cheaper, even better, and faster to produce. And that's of course some very important things for the housing in the futures, of course. And this experience came in very handy.
Yeah, I can imagine. 2.5 hours. I knew it went quick. Yeah. But so in a Volkswagen factory, the components come in, and 2.5 hours later, a finalized car comes out.
It's Tesla, but Volkswagen is around 4 hours, I believe. I'm not sure, but the Tesla is at the moment at 2.5 hours, because there are less components in a Tesla than a gas car.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane.
But they have the assembly methodology, and they just buy all the products from other factories, and they just assemble it. There's no engines being built there. They just assemble it, and that's the way we have to choose, or that's the way we have to look at the housing industry, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's very important. But also, it's very important to have like a product focus. If you have a car, you cannot choose the length of your door. It's that door. You can choose some colors, but that's it.
Yeah, it's. I recognize that philosophy very much. We're trying to do the same. We also get a lot of inspiration, or we got a lot of inspiration from the car industry. And when I explain it to a customer, or we need to go give a presentation, I always say, like, imagine how crazy it feels today if you would say, I have ordered a BMW, and they come and assemble the BMW on your driveway.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, how long would that take? How many stuff would go wrong with your BMW?
Yeah, correct.
And what a shitty experience would that be?
Correct.
But we think it's crazy if we do that for a car, and if it's a house, that's the way it's being done.
It's the only sector. To come back to the car, in the first cars, they also delivered like a casco car without seats, without steering, without anything. And the garage could choose, or you could go to the garage and choose your own chairs, steering wheel, and things like that. So That has been changing a lot since the last 100 years. But okay, what was I saying? Now I lost it.
Yeah, something about it's the only industry.
Yeah, indeed, the housing industry is the only industry where we produce products or houses made to order. There's no other industry. I was thinking last week. I was thinking about an industry. I could only find one, and that's the yachting industry. For boats up to 100 million, there they do it made to order as well. But there's no other industry than the construction industry where we do it like we do it at the moment. So really making things every time a new prototype, every time a new building, it's the only industry where we do it. There's no other industry where you can imagine where they don't work with products.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I also believe very strongly, as you say, that product mindset needs to become more like a core principle in the construction industry.
Yeah, correct.
Because now the entire sector is like, yeah, but of course we start from a blank sheet. No. I mean, it's always been done. It's been done like that for centuries. But
correct.
If we're gonna face the challenges that we're facing, that's
it's not possible.
Okay, so you started with those garden sheds, and then you thought, okay, we need to work on our own solution.
Yeah, correct.
But then where do you go from there? Because like you at automotive industry, Jan is a lawyer, if I'm correct?
He's a lawyer. Yeah. He has to write left hand.
So how do you go then from the sheds to the first production?
We had, it's very easy. A few renderings. We had some press attention, and the first customer came. And we said we don't know a lot. We have some backup of some investor, and we start from here. We do our ultimate best for you, and we will make sure you get a super product. And we lost a lot of money on the first products, of course, but that's the way we got started. And there was one very nice product or a customer. He wanted a really beautiful garden house, but he couldn't find a contractor to build it for him. It was so special. It was with glass from top to ceiling. He had a lot of wishes, and we said, okay, we will do it for you. And that's one of the first projects we did. And then we started building for our own some special houses or some smaller houses that got also a lot of media attention, and that's the way we moved up.
And I remember because I visited me and my dad, or me and Axel, we visited you while we were doing our market research also for like where are we gonna implement our motivation or our vision of indeed trying to also make the construction more standardized. And you already had like quite a big, I think it was the same location where you are now.
I'm not sure. Was it in
next
Meeuwen? We started out in Meeuwen in Limburg.
Okay,
then,
I never visited that one. No.
We started then there, and then we later on quickly moved into the production site in Geel. It was close to my house where I lived, and we had a huge hall, and it was easy to expand in this hall. So, but we started out on first 300 square meter, then 900 square meter, and then every year we could expand a little bit, and now it's roughly 10,000 square meters the production area. So,
wow.
But indeed, we were doing the first modules. We still have it. Me and Jan were building it without any experience. Of course, we had some people helping us, but that was we painted everything we did ourselves. Yeah,
because that's something, and I always that's somewhat different from our approach. I always found it. I always respected the fact that you immediately started with like, or it looked that way, from like renting your own factory space and getting everything there.
No.
No? Okay.
No, we started real low level.
Okay.
We had a really small, in Meeuwen back then. With our first investor, we had some area in a sub place where we could do this. We got some help from some people, but it was really bootstrapping the business from scratch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when we moved into Geel, we had to invest, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, what did you learn along the way? Like you started with like the smallest possible beginnings, and now you are making how many homes a year?
Roughly 100 a year. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. That's a lot. So that's been throughout 10 years. So what have you learned? What are like some key learnings throughout that process?
True. what haven't I learned? We started really from scratch, so we had to learn everything. But we're quite good in doing a lot of things with few money. So with low budget, we could do a lot of things. So that was also very useful. But in the end, we learned to not in the end, but in the middle, we learned to surround ourselves with good people. That's I think one of the most important things I've learned. So don't hesitate to find the right people and good people, and hire the right people for you. That's one big thing. And also with external like consultants or things, watch out with consultants. But if you find a really good one who has the same values as you, down to earth, and has the correct experience, why not work with them?
Mm-hmm.
And partnering with like our two investors, it's also been a great journey. But they are really experts in what they do, and then that helps a lot. You can do everything yourself, but it will take double or triple the time, and then it costs more money in the end. So.
Mm-hmm. And can you? So you came from automotive, and now you've been active in construction for 10 years. Were there like some really big, like that you were amazed of how it was actually being done in construction? Like moments that you were like, how the hell is this possible?
Yeah, of course, it's like we've been doing thousands of years the same. It's building brick by brick. Why are we still doing this? It's crazy. Yeah, it was logical 500 years ago, but now it's not logical. Another example is if you see the Empire State Building, it's been built roughly 100 years ago, and you see the new buildings like the Salesforce building. They built the Empire State Building in 13 months. This new building, they took 5 years for the similar building. 5 years, and the construction methods are almost the same. So you can see the progress in construction is so low. It's crazy. I've seen graphs that show that in construction the gross added value is zero, or the productivity is zero compared to after World War II. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare it to agriculture, it's gone up 1,600%, and construction zero. So.
Yeah, I think Geert from Marui, I think I heard it mention him in some talks that he has given. Like productivity increases, it's like hunting, it's like the lowest, and then there's construction.
Yeah, correct. Indeed, it's zero.
But construction is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, industry in Belgium.
Correct.
And hunting is like it's not even an industry. Yeah. So it's so, I find it. Like we've also been active in the industry now for, 4 years commercially, 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to, sometimes I get like, okay, that's why it's like this. But most of the time I'm also still amazed, like, how is this possible? It's so strange.
Of course. But again, if you build every product or every house from scratch, you cannot make any progress. A car has type 1, type 2, type 3, etc. For 40 years of generation, 40 years long, it has different types of generations, and they always improve and improve and improve and get better and faster and faster construction, better and safer. With a house, you start from scratch, and again from scratch, again from scratch. You don't have any, how do you say, no upscale or no,
no.
There's no growth. There's no learning curve.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, we always talk about the feedback cycle. Like the feedback cycle needs to be as quick as possible.
Correct.
And you need to iterate as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. And everything that gets that goes wrong once cannot happen again in the next installment.
Yeah. Correct. In products like here, what we see here is that's logical, huh? Or in car manufacturing, that's logical, but in construction, okay, then we build the next house. It's not okay. We don't do it.
No, it's true. And so the because today, if I understand correctly, you offer your clients very little choice.
Correct. Yeah.
So can you maybe expand a little bit which choices are still possible, and did it start that way, or did it become less throughout the time?
It has always been the idea to work towards a product. But in the beginning, you cannot say, okay, it's this and take it or leave it. In the beginning, it's very hard. So we had some big customers where we really made modules made to order, okay, in large numbers. That was okay. But in 2020, in COVID, we changed the complete company. So we changed it towards a real product-driven company. So last 2 or 3 years we've been doing this. And there we designed 8 types of houses, only 8 types, where the customer had to choose from. And there are like 4 or 5 different choices they can choose from, like exterior, so the stones, the stone strips, the countertops, the flooring. They have 3 choices, and the door hinges. That's the only choice they have, because these things don't impact the production process. If they say you have to change a window for 5 centimeters, that's a completely different house for us. And if they change the countertop, that's no issue. And we only let them select the things that don't have an impact on the production process or on the production flow.
Okay. So roughly 5 choices they can still make. Okay. Interesting.
And that was very, very special for us, because we weren't sure if the Belgian customer would apply for this. Like I said before, the Belgian customer was one of the most demanding customers in the world, I believe. They have the highest standards. And then every Belgian is born with a brick in his stomach. So they're used to making choices, and a lot of choices for a house. The biggest purchase in their life. And but we saw that it was like, for a lot of people, it was like relieving that they didn't have to make any choices anymore. So they came to our company and they said, "Oh, I love it. I don't have to make any choices anymore." So that's completely the other way around. That what we think in construction.
Okay. So they were actually relieved.
Yes, of course. They don't want to make choices anymore. Most people. So
yeah, that's also something we also strongly believe in. Like, the norm has always been, we send the client to the bathroom and to the bathroom supplier, kitchen supplier, tile supplier, like, I don't know how many showrooms, 5, 6 different showrooms, like 5, 6 Saturdays spent on thousands of options.
Thousands of floors, thousands of,
And if I talk with a lot of our clients, we still B2B focused, they always say, but that's what the client wants. And I believe that's the case for a certain like a certain value or a certain segment of the market, if you go high up. But I think the average consumer is starting to want, as you say, less choice, because that's what they're used to, I think.
And again, we're coming back to the car industry. I'm always coming back to the car industry. There you don't have these choices. Okay, at BMW you have a complete list, 50 or even 150 choices. Tesla, you have, like, I believe there are 24 combinations per car or so. So combinations even, so it's only 5 or 6 choices you have to make there. So it's quite easy, and that's what people tend to go to at the moment. So they don't want to be disturbed with all the choices they have to make. They want to have time to do the things they really want to do. Mm-hmm. That's in the end the most important thing, I believe. Mm-hmm. If you have to go to, like you said, 5 different kitchen suppliers, then they don't have the time to spend with their children or to travel or
Yeah, indeed. And how does that translate to the price?
Standardization. For instance, for the windows, we can offer the highest standards. We offer triple glazing, aluminium, Reinhardt windows, only AEG. I see it also here. The kitchen appliances are all top standard, and we can offer them for a reasonable price, because we have no choice. We just buy them in bulk. The flooring is the same. We just have 3 tiles or 3 parquets, and we can offer the highest standard because we buy in bulk, and the prices go way down if you buy in bulk.
Okay.
So if you offer a full option, they don't have to make any choices, and if they're only producing full option, then prices go down.
So it's incomparable with the traditional way. It's higher quality for a competitive price.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not the cheapest. We don't want to be the cheapest.
Okay.
But we want to offer the best quality for the best price.
Okay.
So you can buy a cheaper house, of course, but you will not have the aluminium triple glazing. You will not have the appliances. You will not have this type of flooring. You can make it always cheaper, but that's not our goal. It has to be top quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then with the added benefits of no headaches, like it's like how long does an installation take on site?
On site, a couple of weeks ago, we established a record on one house. It was 38 minutes. So they came back, the guys, yeah, we have made a record. First truck came in, 38 minutes later, everything was in place.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, that was the installation. Of course, they have some finishing left. You have to make the roof watertight and things like that.
Okay.
But placing the house was 38 minutes. So and then it takes 2-3 days to finish it and paint it. The last layer of paint is done on site.
That's on site, and then the roofing is done on site.
Yeah, the roof, the EPDM has been attached on site, but that's a couple of hours. And then some pieces of the facade that it looks like like one that doesn't look like a container or like
right.
a modular house. You don't see it; it's a modular house. So. It was 38 minutes. Yeah, it was. It was quite fast.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then. That's a game changing. Eh?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And the production time in factory is now 2 weeks pre-production, making all the elements, and then assembly, and then another 2 weeks for finishing the house, installing the kitchen, the floors, and everything, bathroom. Then in total, it's now 4 weeks. But we are now. Moving into more the assembly line, and then it has to go in a couple of days only. So then the elements come in, and then we assemble it, and it goes out.
Right.
That's the next step.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And how are you going to achieve that now? It's being because I was in the production site a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And it's huge from my perspective.
Small at the moment, but too small moment. Yeah.
Okay, but compared with the last time I was there. Yeah. But now you're going to really make it into a production line.
Yeah.
And today it's, because to me it already looked like a production line.
Yeah, it looks like a production line, but it's a production line, but it's not an assembly line. That's something different.
Okay, what's the difference?
At the moment, we produce all the parts ourselves. So the walls, the floors, the bathrooms, everything we do ourselves. And then we assemble it, and then we finish it. And when you only want to do assembly is that all the parts are coming in. So you have, the walls are coming in, the floors are coming in. You assemble them, and they're going out again. Okay. And now it takes too long.
Okay, right. So again, that's the connection with the automotive industry. Yeah. It's going to be an assembly line.
Correct.
Right. And then the subcomponents, because now you're doing everything yourself, you're going to outsource that?
Correct, yeah. That's the idea, to outsource everything.
Because I thought, I don't know, during one of our previous discussions, wasn't it mentioned that you were going to do the production of the walls also in-house?
Yeah, the walls is something special.
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah. It will not be in the assembly line, but it will, we're looking how to produce them. It's a special material with it's a combination of massive wood and things like that. And then there's nobody delivering them at the moment. And it's quite a big investment to make these walls. So we have one supplier in Finland who can do it, but it's too far with transport costs. So we're not sure how to do that yet.
Okay.
But that's the walls is quite something different.
Okay.
But the rest, there's multiple companies who can do it better than the production of these walls. There are multiple companies who can do it much faster and better than us.
Mm-hmm. The Stora Enso, that type of.
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal is also not 2.5 hours. Maybe that's maybe a bit too ambitious.
One day. Actually, one day should be possible, I believe. Yeah.
2.5 hours.
No, 1 day. 1 day.
1 day.
Yeah. Should be possible. Yeah. But our goals are quite high. So.
And do you have an idea by when? Is there like a deadline?
It's hard to say, but like in 4 to 5 years, maybe. Yeah.
From subcomponents coming in, and the end of the day, house comes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Be 3 or 4 days, years maybe.
Yeah. Then, awesome. And so today, 100 houses a year, and growing quickly, I presume.
Yeah, that's roughly it's 10,000 square meters every year. But the goal is within a couple of years to 50,000 square meters. So that's 500 houses every year. And we want to have like a pilot factory to do that with the assembly line and everything. And then the next step is copying this factory 10 times.
Across Europe?
Across Europe, yeah. That's the ambition. So that's 500,000 square meters every year. So 50,000 per plant, 500,000 per, in total. But it's 6,000 houses. If you see, is it a lot? Yeah, it's a lot. But if you compare it to some other companies, it's really not a lot. And if you see the housing crisis only in Holland, they need 100,000 houses every year. So that's a hot, how do you say, a drip of water on a hot plate, huh?
Yeah, it's true. Like if you say
it's
500,000 square meters, it's like, oh my God, but that's like 6,000 houses.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds.
It sounds a lot.
Like demand-wise, it must be there.
Only in Belgium, UK, France, Germany and Holland, it's 1 million houses every year the coming 10 years. They need to build. So that's a crazy, how do you say?
Demand.
The demand is crazy at the moment. So and it will keep on growing. And that's only for these 4 countries. US has a lack of almost 4 to 5 million houses
today
at this moment. Yeah, affordable houses. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So something has to change.
Yeah, that for sure. And in America, you also see that there have been some, like I think the most well-reported throughout the last couple of years were what are they called again? Like
Pantera?
Of course. Yeah,
they were. They had the problem they had, I believe. My opinion is that they didn't have a product. They were just buying a lot of big projects and try to do the modular or offsite, but not without a product approach. And you cannot innovate when you don't have a product.
Mm-hmm.
If you innovate on something that has been done in America than 300-400 years the same way, then.
Good luck.
Or what are you innovating? You do it on the product, not on the way the product is made. Yeah,
I also saw them presenting they did like these Apple type events, and I think I saw the last one because we were also following it up because oh my God, is this the big American player that's gonna take over the? And then I remember actually me looking at like the presentation, and at the end we were also like, okay, but what do they do? Like they were doing. It seemed everything and nothing. Yeah.
The workflow was perfectly organized, but it's the means of. But again, the product wasn't there. They didn't have a product. They have an optimized production flow, yes, but they didn't have a product yet. And why are you optimizing it?
How much did they raise? Like 2 billion?
3 billion valuation they had before they went bankrupt. So, yeah.
I do think it made a dent in the industry. I think in the States it took funding for our type of businesses.
Correct. Modular and offsite construction. But there are similar examples also in Europe. So
for sure.
Not the only one.
No. And the first assembly factory, where is it going to be at the site where you are right now?
We hope we do it there. Yeah. Space is there, but we're also looking at Holland. There's a lot of demand in Holland, and it could also possibly be there. But we will keep the factory in Geel. Also, we have of course the ground-bound houses, the houses we sell to the private persons.
Okay,
that will keep on. We will keep producing them on the classical way, and then the next product, the assembly product, will be in a new factory or in Holland. Yeah.
Okay. Exciting times ahead.
I believe so. But it's crazy in the world of offsite. What's going on? It's the last year or 2 years that has gone ramped up. It's what you see in the US, what you see in Europe. It's crazy.
Yeah, but as you say, it's necessary. Yeah?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, we also started with our research because we didn't for us. It wasn't that clear what we were gonna do. We noticed that there were issues in the market, like big deep-rooted issues with price, with the environmental impact, with the demand that was going to come, and then we started looking like where can we make a difference. And honestly, we were surprised now because we started with that research in 2015 during our studies, and indeed, as you say, the last couple of years we are noticing also like it's going up quite quickly. But now looking back, I'm surprised that it took so long, because the demands the challenges are of such magnitude.
Yeah, correct. But I don't know why it took so long. Maybe also the environmental impact. Building with wood is something that's good for the offsite construction. So these are the things that I don't know what the main reasons are, but we see it in the 10 years ago. We couldn't imagine it at this pace at the moment. So, but we've seen in these 10 years, we've seen a lot that has changed, in the good way.
Yeah. So now you are making the product, the Skilpods for B2C and B2B.
Not really B2B. It's we do our own projects where we sell houses always directly to the end consumer.
Okay.
But when you talk about affordable housing, it's good to have a direct flow without too much people in between. If you can understand what I say.
Margins on margins.
The margins on margins and the taxes on taxes, that's what making housing so expensive. And if you could cut these, also the taxes on the taxes, when you sell a house, you pay another taxes. The prices go all up, and that's one of the reasons why housing is so expensive. We believe the product itself, okay, it's also an expensive product, but if you can cut all these taxes and margins, then it's much more affordable.
Mm-hmm. Right. So so it's mostly B2C then today.
B2C or B2G, business to government as well. Like for in Holland, we work for some local governments, and they will keep the houses for at least 50, 60 years. They will not be sold. They will rent them out to a fair price, and there's no margins. They don't take any margins on the product, and then it's interesting for the renter, of course. They just buy the product for a correct price from us, and they just rent it out.
The government.
Local governments or social housing organizations in Holland. The local, how do you say, the cities and the towns and things. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if I would be a developer today and I have a piece of land and I would like to place 10 Skilpods on it, I cannot come to you.
Yeah, we can work something out. Yeah, we can. Normally, the developer works on the ground value and we work on the housing. So we sell the houses and the developer sells the land then.
Okay. Right.
These are options. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let's see. So maybe to dive a little bit more into you personally, like your role inside Skilpod. What do you do exactly inside the organization?
Officially, I'm called the CEO.
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a manager, so it's quite difficult for me. I've been that for the last years now, and it's quite difficult because we're growing at this fast pace. So everything is changing all the way, and it's quite hard to manage a company like that. Mm-hmm. So you have to be a little bit of an entrepreneur in a scale up. But at the moment, we're looking for a new CEO who can take up the role of when it's becoming a more, how do you say, stable company.
Right.
Then it's easier for a CEO to take over, I believe. And my passion is more in designing these things, the international expansion, the strategy. These things are the things I get my energy from, and not from managing a company. So, and I know there are much better managers than myself. We have a very good management team, so that also helps, of course. Right. Everybody is responsible for their own tasks or for their own department, and these guys and girls are doing a great job. So that makes my job a little bit more easy.
Right. Yeah. So you in the foreseeable future you will switch to a more back to the more technical side of things.
More, technical, and I love the international expansion. That's something that I believe needs an entrepreneur to do. So that's a big change, of course.
Yeah, because I also saw on your LinkedIn, you've done a course at the University of Antwerp on understanding how to do business in China.
Yeah, correct.
Is that an ambition, moving Skilpod to China?
No. China is not an ambition anymore. It was... excuse me.
No problem.
No, before I started Skilpod, I was active in the automotive sector, and I worked for a company who wanted to start up in China.
Okay.
And before that, I was always interested since the first time I was in China when I was, let's say, 20, 21. The country always intrigued me. And I wanted to learn a lot more about China and doing business with Chinese people. And that interested me a lot. So I followed this 2-year or was it 1 year course. And then I started working for a Belgian company wanted to start up in China. So I had to start up the company in China there.
Okay.
And it was in automotive. So starting from scratch, we had one lead, that was it. We had to find a plot of ground, we had to find suppliers, set up the legal, so a completely new company, but in China then.
And you went through that entire process?
Yeah.
Wow, that must have been
fun.
fascinating. Yeah.
Very fun. I was very young, and that also learned me a lot. I was, I believe, 25 years old doing that. So I had to grow a beard, so the Chinese people thought I was a little bit older than I looked, but that was fun.
And what were the main lessons from doing something like that in China?
The complete process, I believe. It was finding your way. I were dropped. The company I worked for, they said, go for it. I had a lot of backup, of course, from the people from the main company, but I had to figure it out myself. And that was, starting up a company, actually, you had to do everything what it takes to start up a company there.
Okay.
That was what I learned the most. And I love the culture. I love the people there. It's a crazy country, so really fun country.
Yeah, I've never been. It is intriguing for sure.
Go there,
Yeah.
And everything goes a little bit faster sometimes, and sometimes a little bit slower there. So, but it's a big country. Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been crazy as a Chinese citizen. Like the last 30 to 40 years must have been insane.
Correct. Yeah, that's cannot imagine what happens there. Some for the good, some for the bad, but all in favor of the country. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, recently I listened to a podcast about how is he called, the Prime Minister?
Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping. Yeah. And then I did a little bit more research, and everyone is still like proclaiming like it's gonna be a behemoth. It already is a behemoth, but it's gonna conquer the world. And then I did some more research, but they also have some serious issues. It seems at the moment. Like on the environmental front, on the economical front.
It's been 8 or 9 years since I've been there, so I didn't follow it the last 10 years. But it's on the environmental front, they have issues, but they are. We took 100 years to solve these issues.
They're gonna do it in 5.
They're gonna do it in 5 years or even faster, so they can do it. So economically, they will face some issues, of course. And COVID will not help it.
No.
Not help that. So
no. They postponed the inevitable, it seemed.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
All right. So, what's the ultimate goal you hope to achieve throughout doing Skilpod? Like, what's the North Star? What are you aiming for? The 500,000 square meters, of course, one of the big goals. If you can do that, it's zero CO2 emission. It's with the product. It's zero energy consumption with the product, so you can change a little bit the world. Right.
With this.
Yeah.
That's the ambition. Building with wood, so CO2 captation, carbon captation, and zero emission houses. So zero energy use in the houses. So also zero CO2 emissions. That's one big part, or one big goal, to change the complete construction industry, part by part, with a small company, but okay. And then also, what is important for us is to be a very well-known brand. So,
okay.
And the goal, we set ourselves the goal in 10 years, we want to be top 100 brand. And at the moment, there is not one construction company in the 100 most famous brands. So
not one.
It's the biggest industry, but there's zero construction companies in the top 100 or even top 200, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah, construction. Yeah, nobody knows that construction company.
But that's also something that we learned throughout the last couple of years. I find it intriguing how bad the marketing at times is in this industry.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that they They don't care. Like
again, but if you don't have a product or a service you can promote, it's quite hard, I believe.
Yeah, it's true. If you're a general contractor, again.
What are you gonna promote? It's not your building because the architect designed the building. It's the way you build it, but it's quite difficult to have a branding. That's true. But that's one of the important things we're working on at the moment.
So in 10 years, top 200.
Top 100.
Top 100
is the goal. We always aim high. So think big is one of our slogans.
Okay,
so,
globally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the ambition, but
if that succeeds, that would be amazing.
We hope.
For sure. So let's see. If you could change one thing in the industry today, what would it be?
Let me see. What is not to change? That's the first. What is not to change? We've been doing buildings we've done the last thousands of years. So there are new things going on, but it's crazy. We have to change everything, I believe, in construction. So more use of wood. The productivity is a big problem. More product minded or the more product approach. All these things. Mm-hmm. It's too much. I think everything should change.
Right. Yeah.
And also, it's still let's say, how much is it? 30% of the CO2 emissions are coming from the construction industry. So that should be zero. 30 or 25% of all emissions come from the usage of buildings. So that's crazy. Mm-hmm. If we could change that, there's a huge gap there, or a huge opportunity to do that. Yeah, and there are a lot of people working on it, but it's still going way too slow. And
with Skilpod, you only install heat pumps and
it's all electric. Yeah, it's we can easily go to zero energy, and we have, with all the wood we use, we have a net. We have zero CO2 emissions, so that's important, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
And we see a lot of countries that want to have it, and even some local governments who say that they only want to build with wood. So in Holland, you have some local communities, or how do you say, cities? They say, okay, we only will produce wooden buildings anymore.
Okay.
So that's something that's happening.
It will definitely help.
Yeah,
sure.
Correct.
Okay, so we always finish with a couple of personal questions. Mm-hmm. But before I dive into those, is there anything that I have missed about Skilpod? Something that you want to also say to the audience? Something?
Sure. Maybe also very interesting is we're working on this living as a service model.
Okay.
So that's something where we want to have, and in the near future, we don't want to sell the buildings anymore. So that's also a shift that we see with some other construction companies or developers, where the total cost of usership is lower than the total cost of ownership.
Okay.
So it's in that case it's easier, or it's better to not own the building, and that's something we're working on, and that will also come in the near future. And then the main idea is that one of the renters will become an investor. So that's also, so we see that also in as a big plus towards through the complete construction industry. We see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like also, which I believe he's renting out his walls.
Mm-hmm.
The walls are coming back. So these are the things that we're also working on, but on a business model level then.
Yeah, housing as a service.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Living as a service.
Living as a service. Yeah. All right, wonderful. I'm quickly going to close the curtain because the sun is becoming quite hot. All right, we're back. And then let's finish with a couple of more lighter questions. If you could have a drink with anybody, dead or alive,
mm-hmm.
who, or drink or dinner, or like, who would it be?
Oh, it's I always say Elon Musk. I have a real big admiration for this guy. He's been from a young age he's been working on his life goal, and that's changing the world and making sure mankind can survive. And everything he does is one step closer to that goal. And the end goal is sending people to Mars or even interstellar travels. And that's something that's the way he is doing that. And okay, he's a crazy guy. Eh? not everything is good about this guy, but I would like to have a discussion with him to see how he sees everything and how he can do that. And I believe these are the type of people that we need more. And of course, a lot of controversiality around it, but I think it's only normal if you want to change the world like he is wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's quite amazing what he is doing. Also, not everything, but
No. I think the last couple of months and years he's become more and more controversial. But it's funny that you say that, because for me he's also quite high on that list.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet coming by recently, which is of course now owned by him, of course, that platform. Anyway, but I think it was Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and he said maybe at the end of it all, the biggest thing that Elon achieved was that he enabled people in the 21st century to dream big again.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And I think that could be true, because I can also honestly say, like, I read I read a lot when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, for me, it was the biography of Richard Branson from Virgin, who also
read that also.
like I was
also
18.
Amazing, yeah.
I was 18 and I was like, oh my God, is this how you can live a life? That's what I want to do. It's amazing. Like, that guy, he works hard, but he also has fun. Yeah. He's doing something positive.
Correct.
And then, it was Steve Jobs and so on and so on and so on. But then I remember also very vividly in my last year of university, while we were at AMS, I also read the biography of Elon Musk. And I very clearly remember, like, that thing that the tweet of Sam Altman, like, mentioned, that really was for me like, wow. So this guy, he just... he's also genetically gifted. Eh?
Yeah, of course.
I can't do...
Highly gifted,
extremely intelligent, very high IQ individual with a very specific type of brain, I think. But he did, like, as the tweet said, he enabled me to, like, just dream big and try and see where you land. And I think that's a very valuable example that he's giving.
Correct. Yeah, it's crazy. And he also says, if I don't fail... I started something that others can proceed with to get people to Mars, or life on Earth is ending, and and we have to find it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the coming 1,000 years, I believe, but
for sure.
Some way it's ending. No, it's crazy. It's like in the line of Leonardo da Vinci and these type of guys.
Yeah, but he's living in the time of exponential technology.
Indeed.
So his vision is like, where is it gonna end up? The guy is still only, what is he, like 50-something years old?
Yeah, something like that,
50, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He still has 15, 20 years to go.
Yeah, correct.
It's gonna be very interesting to see where that ends.
Crazy.
If he also indeed stays sane.
Of course.
That's something I also think, like, man, this guy, the pressure he must be under.
Yeah, of course, all these companies and
now
he's doing.
Yeah, now with Twitter, I also think at times, like, he's addicted to it. Like,
probably. Yeah.
Why? Why?
That was not
necessary, man.
Yeah, but you don't know what his plans with it are. So maybe he has some big plans with it, but
most likely, yeah. Also, the connections between the different organizations are also going to be interesting too.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, he has that boring company. Yeah. Like, there are theories like, he's going to put one of those boring things on the rocket to go to Mars, because on Mars you can't live on the surface. Correct. You need to live under the surface for the radiation. So there's quite a lot of connection between the different organizations. Like, already now you could say, and that's something that they are talking about, or that's being mentioned, like, if he has x.com, the website, he owns it. And there have been, like, theories, like, he's gonna put Tesla, SpaceX, OpenAI is no longer shareholder, but the neural net
Neuralink.
Neuralink, and then Starlink is going to be a spin-off, and then Twitter and all. And if you combine those and you bring them to the stock exchange today under a holding company, X.com,
it would be the biggest.
It would probably already be the biggest company in the world. And fascinating. All right. Is there a book that you recently read, or just a book that you've read, that you would advise to our audience to give a read?
I read not so many books. I read a lot of Blinks. Blinkist. It's
right. Is it good?
I do a lot. Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, you have 10 pages, and if it's a good book, I buy it. But one of the better books I've read last period is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a famous book. Yeah, correct. I like it because it tells you to focus on the things that matter in life. The rest doesn't matter actually, and everything you do, it will be a struggle. So choose the right struggle for you. It's quite a good book. And the most important thing in the book is that you have to take responsibility for everything you do. Don't blame it on anybody else. You blame it only on yourself, and that's one of the things I live by. So that changed me a lot. The book is it's not a big book, but it's quite a inspiring book.
Strong ideas.
Yeah, correct. Indeed.
Yeah, it's a good one indeed. It's like a really short summary of a lot of philosophies. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, good ones. Also the one about ego. There's no ego. Everybody has a different picture of you anyway. So what does it matter? How do you act your own way? Yeah, that was some eye-opening things that were in there for me.
You read it recently?
A year or two ago. Yeah, but I still these things I stuck by.
All right, great. Then, Filip, I think we can start to finish it off here. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much again for making time. I'm sure you have a very busy schedule, and you were also a little bit sick, so it's very much appreciated of still coming by.
No problem.
Any last final words you want to convene to the audience, or where people can follow you, or where they can follow Skilpod, or
yeah, keep an eye on us. We're gonna do some hopefully in the coming months we will come out with some big news, so you can follow us on the website or the Facebook or
no little teasers about what it's gonna be.
The scaling up thing.
Okay.
It will be. Yeah, you will hear from it.
All right, wonderful. Then thank you very much for your time, and maybe we can do a round 2 when that first factory has been built.
Yeah, glad to.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Bao Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in Bao Living in our Smart Adaptable Module or SAM, go check out our website baoliving.com. If you want to stay up to date, you can best subscribe to our monthly newsletter on our website or follow us on all social media platforms where we're named @Bao Living.